And it's a pleasure to get together with Jackie and Kristin. Now, first of all, Kristin, Jackie said that I had to introduce her as the world's greatest athlete, and you're number 2. I just wanted to-
Sorry, no, I would feel more comfortable.
Trouble.
How often have your paths crossed over the years, and how did you meet?
Well,
I don't know. Well, through the sports commission, I
yes.
think when I worked there in development and she was chair and on the board, our paths would cross. But kind of like St. Louis, you just random times, random events.
So you grew up hearing about her, and then did you get wind even in the middle of your Olympic career? Hey, there's this kid at St. Joe doesn't lose.
oh yes, I knew about Kristin, because I know UCLA was trying to recruit her, even though,
Just went a little bit north. That's okay.
and I think that our path crossed more with the sports commission, but outside of that, St. Joe, they always had great athletes.
And at UCLA, you never lost to Stanford. At Stanford, you never lost to UCLA, right?
You just had right timing, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's talk about competition. And I know you both have so many things going on right now, but describe that competition high in the middle of your career. First, you, Jackie.
I would say, you focus and you prepare to execute to the best of your ability. You don't really know what the high is because you really just want to get out there and perform to how you prepared yourself. And you want to be what people call in the zone, like looking at the javelin, my least favorite event. But I had to really stay focused and a good throw. So, and then running the 800, that's 88, really fond memories, yes.
You were locked in.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
How about it, Kristin? What about the competition high?
Well, I keep wanting to say I was never at her level in Olympic arenas, but at Final Fours when you have 20,000
yes.
people cheering for you, I think the high was more what got you into that zone, like white noise. You couldn't even hear people. And it's the adrenaline
Yes.
maybe that, I don't know if I call it a high or just an
Right.
adrenaline rush.
So women's sports have made so many advancements, but what were the obstacles like, a long time ago? You probably had to overcome a lot of things.
Yeah, you did. As far as, I would say, women's sports back in the day, we weren't on television a whole lot. And I remember when I caught a glimpse of women consistently on TV was during the Olympics. So seeing Evelyn Ashford or Annie Myers in '76,
That was the only time.
right, but to see how everyone are embracing, women's sports today, you could just, you talk about pioneers, which I am.
You're too young to be a
And make it,
pioneer.
right, trailblazing and paving the way for the generation of today.
Any obstacles you had to overcome, although you're a little bit younger?
Yeah, well, I'd piggyback on that a little bit. And I think what's been overcome more is a mindset. I didn't even think to challenge or question why there were inequalities. I was happy with the crumbs that we got because it was better than the folks before us. And I thought, well, this is great. Like, we're getting gifts at the Final Four, but in Minneapolis in '94 for basketball, we got a container of Spam, a cooking cup measuring thing, some Bisquick, and a sweatshirt. And I thought, wow, big time, we got some gifts. So I think that was an obstacle to overcome, the mentality.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about people in your life who have had a big influence on your career? With you, Jackie, it has to be Bobby. Why did you guys click?
I would say not only Bobby, but Coach Nino Fenoy,
Oh,
who
yeah.
really sent me, to connect with a coach like Bobby. And I think understanding and respecting Bobby as the coach and knowing that he's going to bring the best out of me. And we made a union being husband and wife, but more importantly, when we're on the field, it was coach-athlete.
And with Kristin, with you, your parents were not like diehard sports fans or ex-athletes, right? Who was it for you?
Correct. Well, I think that's what kept me grounded. And we were just talking about this before we came on, that not having internet, not having social media, you tended to turn more to people in your inner circles for that guidance. And so it's a little cliche, but it really was my parents. They were not athletes. They just supported me because I was their daughter. And I think that helped me keep a level head and not feel too much pressure.
So they weren't athletes, but they raised a 6'3" daughter with like a 35-inch vertical jump who could never lose in high school.
Exactly. They didn't know what to do. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the female athlete who's getting the most attention now, Caitlin Clark, and that whole phenomenon?
You know what? I think what's happening with Caitlin Clark, phenomenal athlete, and it's bringing a whole lot of eyes, a whole lot of support to, the WNBA now. And then also, I just see, I can only see upside, and it's keeping women's sports out there, and she's doing it really, to me, with a lot of grace and humility.
How about it, Kristin?
Yeah, no, the same thing. I'll just keep piggybacking on Jackie. I think it's just opened a much broader discussion about female athletics, whatever sport you're talking about.
right.
Yeah, and it's been positive. If you want to talk marketing, if you want to talk sponsorships, if you want to talk that mentality for younger girls, saying, wow, I could do that.
Right.
Like, why not?
Yes.
All right, legacy. How would Jackie Joyner-Kersee like to be remembered?
How would Jackie Joyner-Kersee like to be remembered? I have this great facility over in East St. Louis called the Jackie Joyner-Kersee Center. This year we celebrating 25 years, and for me, it's my work that I've been able to do in the community, but also being able to take my athletics and parlay it into something bigger and better than what I could have ever imagined.
Well, you're doing amazing things over there. How about you, Kristin?
A little bit smaller. I don't have my own facility. I would love to. But I hope just personally people remember me as being someone who played the sport because I loved it. I felt like it gave me a lot. I hope it felt like I gave it a lot.
Yes.
And just want to be remembered as a good person.
Yes, I
And who
agree.
beat everybody's brains out.
Right, but in a very kind and loving
Loving
way.
way, yes,
Yeah, right.
yes.
Great to see you. Congratulations on incredible careers.